you. Okay, cool. So I'm Sarah. I've spent over 30 years in marketing, and this is my first webinar. So feel free to jump in on the chat line and let me know how I'm going as we go through. So the reason I brought up this subject about the 10, if not more, fantastic tools that no one ever hears about is because I come across it all the time when I'm talking to people, and they're not sure what tools to use for what. They're not sure what's free, what they can use. So I'm just going to share my screen over here. If I start to look away from you, I've just got a second screen over here, which is the screen you should be seeing now. So your screen, this screen here, small business tools. So tell me if you can't see anything. I'm just going to drop my panel down so that I can. Okay, so about me. I've been on the Gold Coast for 14 years, as you can probably tell from my accent. I was born in England. I have had a shed load of experience, as I've put there, in marketing, and almost 14 of those years have been in shopping centres. So I've got a vast amount of retail expertise. When it comes to me as a marketer, I have basically always wanted to. The reason I do it differently is because I like to keep everything simple. And so if I can, working in shopping centres was a very busy job. And so what I've realised over the years is that if I can keep things simple and effective, then great, because it makes my life much easier. And so over the years, I've picked up these tools to use for, to save me time. And so that I didn't always have to use an agency to do things for me. And so some of these you will have heard of, but you might not have used before. And some of these you probably have never heard of. Some of them I'm discovering every day as I go through things and trying to work out how to do things. And I think you should never be afraid of just giving it a good old go and searching on Google, because it's fascinating about how many tools there are out there to use. So, and I do what I do because I love it, and I love getting the opportunity to talk to businesses. It's one of the things I love most about working in shopping centres. So I think that's enough kind of about me. I'm just going to switch over here and talk to you, and we'll go through. This is what we're going to cover off on today, and I'm going to show you these tools. So the first one we're going to look at is websites. And I don't know about you, but obviously we just had a chat. You've got your own website. I'm just going to change my view, because in my Zoom settings, sorry, I'm just going to change my view here. Okay, so chat. Okay, I just want to make sure I can see your chat as well. Okay, sorry. So basically, the first thing we're going to talk about websites. Now, I wanted to share some websites with you. So the first website that you might have heard of, there's multiple tools for creating your own website. If you've already got one, I don't know if everyone has a website, but it's always worth investigating all of the different options. The one I love to talk about the most is WordPress, and it's got so many free wonderful tools that you can use. The first tool, I'm just going to do a new share and share my other screen so that you can see this screen here. So the first wonderful tool that I have here is WordPress. It is the most popular WordPress web building site in the world. And I always love the fact that people like Disney, the American government, Star Wars, all those kind of massive corporations actually have built their websites using WordPress. And the reason I love WordPress is because it is it's not 100% free, because like with anything, if you don't pay for it, then you only get the basic version of it. But it is the one that will grow with you as your business grows, and it isn't expensive to keep it growing. And it is okay to build yourself. It does have so many different beautiful things that you can create. If you're going to be selling online, there are other options, and we'll talk about a couple of those in a minute. But WordPress is the best, I believe, for all-round e-commerce as well. So it's great for search engine optimization. So as long as you write the right content, etc., to go into it. It has multiple different types of builders to build it, and it is. I think it's one of those that once you've got your head around using it, you should feel comfortable to update things yourself. I would always recommend when you're building a website, if you can, to get it built professionally in the first place. But that's not always possible. And the reason I say build it professionally yourself is because you want to kind of get the layout set up properly and all the correct tags and the information behind the scenes put in properly. So WordPress, I was going to show you just behind the scenes here that it is a very effective, simple site to navigate behind the scenes. So I'm just going to show you my version. And this is my website I have. I create and use for these purposes. And I just wanted to show you that it's this simple that you get a little menu down the side here. And you just, if I wanted to change something about me on my About Me page, I would literally just click into the About Me, and I would be able to edit that information on that page. Now, first of all, it does come up with what they call an theme builder, and there are multiple theme builders throughout this, but this one here is Vimeo. I find it the easiest to use, but I would, you could use Elementor, there's various others, and then you just switch it to the view here, and you can literally just change text on it. So that is one of my, out of all the websites that I like to talk about, and there's a few, this one is probably my favorite. I'm just going to go on to the next one and show you how we've got here. This is another one, Squarespace. So I'm sure you've all heard of this. We've got Squarespace, we've got WordPress, there's Shopify, there is Wix, there's GoDaddy. If you're building one yourself, the GoDaddies and the Wix, I would try and avoid and stay away from. And I would stick to using something like a Squarespace, a WordPress, or a Shopify, depending on what you're doing. Now, the reason I just want to cover off on websites is because not many people realize that when you do a Shopify website, you actually have to pay a monthly fee to be part of that. So to be part of the fee, you don't want constantly, you want to own your website. So by having a WordPress website, you're in complete control of that site, and it will grow you at times. Another thing that people don't realize is that when you do advertising, so there's a lot of companies out there that offer to create a website for you, so True Local and Yellow Pages, etc. But you only keep that website if you remain advertising with them, and if you don't remain advertising with them, then my sound's cutting in and out. Are you still okay? Can you hear me? Okay. Can you just give me a thumbs up on the chat? Mostly. Okay. I'll keep an eye on it and let me know if it becomes a problem. That's very strange. I have full internet as well, so there's okay. I'll try and keep it slow down a bit. So I always going back to this website, Wix, GoDaddy, very easy to work and create your own, but very hard to get them to optimize. And to me, there's no point in having a website if no one's going to find you. So the whole point is to create something that will grow with you. So with that in mind, have a look around at the options available to you. There's others, there's Webflow, and I think it's important that you're comfortable with what you build. So have a good look around at the types of sites that are available. So the next thing that I want to talk about, and I'm just actually going to share this screen for a second and go through some of the other things that we're going to cover across today. So I want to cover across quickly on CRMs and e-newsletters. I'm going to talk about a little bit about social media, paid advertising, digital payment options and the types that you get available. And then we're going to look at, and it's going to be in brief, but how to do your own design and content, which is like really fun. Communications, project management, document management, and some just plain handy tools that you can use. So if I now switch back and share back to this screen here, okay. Right, so with that, what I want to do is I want to go through some of the things. Now, so when you've got a website, that's all well and good, and you need to be able to talk to your customers. So you want a customer relationship management system and an email system. And I think that there's so many to choose from the market that it's just worth showing you a couple of favorites that are simple to use. It is, of course, really up to you how you what system you use. You know, everyone has their own style of working, so it's important to find something that you're comfortable with. But it is really important, if I can give you a tip, really important to think of the long term, because if you get used to using something, and over the years working for an agency, so I've used a lot, you have to kind of juggle and remember they all work in slightly different ways. So I think it's better if you're comfortable with something. So here's a couple that I like to talk about. So with email systems, there are a number of ways and programs that you can use. Now, Wordpress, the beauty of Wordpress and Canva systems and other systems like that will allow you to plug in a relationship and a email product into the back end of it. So when people register on your site, they can drop straight into your database and then you can easily keep in communication with them. And that's really cool because it's not a hard thing to do. It's fairly free and it's very low cost. You plug it into the back of your website and then you can also automate it so that it takes a lot of effort. If anything's going to be nice, it's automating stuff so that you don't have to think about it constantly. So if you can automate relationships with your customers and okay, let me try switching. Sorry guys, I'm just going to switch. I'm just going to grab my phone and see if this makes a difference. I'll switch over my internet and see if this helps. Let me see if I switch to a hotspot, if it will make a difference. Okay, let me know if that sounds any better. Does this sound better now? So I switch to a hotspot. It's the same. Okay. Let me see if I can move locations, if that makes any difference. Now the video is going out of sync. Okay. This is okay. I am going to move locations and see if that helps at all. Has that helped me disconnecting from power? I've disconnected from power. Has that made any difference? Can someone just let me know if you can hear me better now? Okay.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me better now? Can you see the video now?
Yeah, the video's been there. It was just starting to be slower than you, and the sound seems a little bit better now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's. I've disconnected it from power, so let's see if that makes any difference. So let me go back to sharing my screen, and we can get back underway and see if this helps at all with anything. So back on the subject of, I've lost now because I've lost a second screen. I have lost my chat. Okay, now I'm frozen. Can you see me at all now? Yes, perfect. Okay, so let's start again and see how we go from here. Right, so just want to go through just some of the basic tools. So Mailchimp, I'm sure you've all heard of, I'm sure you've all heard of Mailchimp. So when you log into all of these websites, there's so many different ones to choose from. Mailchimp is one of the easiest from an email perspective. So I would suggest having a good look around the system. I personally love Mailchimp as an email system. It's nice and simple to use, but I prefer Hubspot, which has an amazing academy as well. So if you really want to learn more about marketing, I'm just going to switch over here to Hubspot. Hubspot is, you can see here, really simple. You can pick up communications templates. And what I would always suggest is when you set up these systems that you build them into your website so that you can actually automate everything. So as an example to this, say you're selling a product like a commercial, you're selling air conditioning units, and you also have a service to run with it. So you might sell an air conditioning unit, and then you want to create a relationship with your customer to make sure that they know when their services are coming up. You just want to stay in touch with them and let them know about new products. You might want to keep them reminded that they ought to get their machines maintenance done on it and get an engineer out. So the easiest and quickest way to do this is have one of these systems, and preferably both, built into your website, and at least have something like HubSpot built into it so that you can automate a process, and so that then you don't have to be thinking, because you can set it up in the back of your website to say, hey, after 3 months, send this client an email to say, oh, how's your aircon going? And would you now like some maintenance? You've had it for 3 months. How about we come out and give it a clean and just check it's all working properly for you? That's done for you then. You don't have to do anything, and then your time can be spent doing other things. So we've talked about in brief. I just wanted to show you some of the simple tools you can use for your website, creating a website on your own, and for creating a customer relationship. And then you've got Mailchimp. Now, Mailchimp, as I said, is a really simple way of actually communicating them with your customers on a regular basis. Now, one of the things I always love to say to people is that, and if anybody would like this, I can share this with you after the program, But there is, I'm just going to grab it off of my computer here. There is a really okay. This tool here is something that I set up to help with, and I think it's one of those tools that's really worth talking about in relation to all of the things that I'm going to talk about today in this session. If you set yourself up a simple planner like this, basically what you can do is you can organize your life and your whole program of events throughout the year. So we've got the website as performing a function of being your online store, and then you've got your customer relationship management program in place, which is your way of talking to your customers and making sure you're on top of how they're doing. But now you want to work, we talked about emails, now you want to actually work out a way to communicate and what to say to them. And you don't really want to be saying anything. You always want to ask yourself the question, why am I saying this and what's it about? Now, with email systems, it's very hard to chuck out information that's not actually relevant to the consumer. So you just kind of trying to think of topics, what can I talk about, what can I talk about? So by setting up a really simple planner like this, and this is something I use in shopping centres, so you would theme it for yourself, but you start by spending a sort of couple of hours planning, and you put in all the topics throughout the year that you could talk about. Then what you do, and this really saves you time, then what you do is you think of the products or services that you might want to promote. So say, for example, July in a shopping centre, I'm going to talk about school holiday entertainment as one of the topics. Ideally, you want 4 because you want 1 per week. But if you can only come up with 1 topic a month, then 1 topic a month is better than nothing. Then what you want to do is you're going to write one piece of information, 1 blog, and you want ideally 800 words or more. And so you could write a blog about, stand up, school holiday fun at the shopping centre, and all the ways you're going to keep kids entertained in that blog. Now, once you've written that 1 blog, you can now, which is time saving, turn that into a Google My Business post. And Google My Business, for those that have never used it, is one of the absolute best ways to promote your business. It's completely free, so if you haven't claimed it, please claim it. We have got webinars and workshops on how to do and create your own Google My Business profile, but I really would encourage you to go and have a look online and search Google My Business profiles and create your own, because they're such a valuable tool. And we will talk about that in a second. So what you do is you create your blog. You then turn that into a Google My Business post. So now you've got 1 piece of information, but now it's in 2 places because you're going to post it onto your Google My Business profile. And then what you're going to do is turn the 1 blog into 3 posts per week. So if you only do have 1 blog, you're going to have to be a bit more creative with creating more social media posts from it. But if you're doing 1 per week, then you're absolutely going to nail this, because it's really easy now to do 3 subjects. And we'll talk about the social media tools that you can use to make that life easier too. And then what you can do is turn it into an e-newsletter. So now, just a simple bit of planning with an Excel sheet like this, you have now sorted out all of your communication with your respective clients for that week, that month, etc. And you can plan ahead. You can do 2 or 3 months at a time. You can be super organized, spend a day just thinking about all of those subjects, get into the writing space and start to think about how you do that. So if anybody wants this after, just put in the chat line and I can send you a copy of this. With this as well, what I've actually done here is I've put down some ideas of yes, Kate. Yeah, it's really cool. So when you've got, I don't know about you, but sometimes it's really hard to think, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? And you don't want to just talk about something for the sake of talking about it. So you've already got your subject, But how are you now going to turn that into something that people want to hear about? And everything you do in marketing is about solving a problem. So if you can always look at it from that perspective, you're now going to, with your content in your blogs, with your content on your website, with your content in your advertising, with your content in your social media, you are going to do one of these things with it, but thinking of what the problem is that you are solving and how that emotionally relates to people, because everything is emotional at the end of the day. We're purchasing something for an emotional benefit. We don't ever buy a product, we buy the benefits of that product. So when you're looking down here, I've put some in there for you on this sheet as well that says, you know, how the types of topic ideas that you might want to talk about. So I'll move on because I can obviously send you this information. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Mark, that sounds, I'll send it across to you, no problem. Now, and actually one of my other courses I do, if anybody wants to sign up for this, is I also cover off on a simple marketing plan and how to sort of come up with your ideal customer. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and we're just going to go back to what I was talking about there, which was Google My Business. So I just want to share with you. Do you all know what a Google My Business profile looks like? And if you don't, I'm going to just quickly show you. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay, so this is a Google My Business profile. So with as I said earlier, if you haven't claimed your Google My Business profile, please, if you don't do anything else after today, go and claim your Google My Business profile. It's really simple. It will talk you through everything you need to do in there. Google are great at doing that. And what will happen then is it will give you more authority on Google. The Google My Business profile is just all the information about your business. Instead of just appearing in a search down here, even if you don't have a website, have a Google My Business profile. It's as I said, if you can actually Google off for the opportunity to build a website too, but if you don't want to go down the route of the Wix and the WordPresses. But I would say with a Google My Business profile and regular content writing, it's a start to having a presence on the web. And if you don't have a presence on the web, then you're going to get left behind. The thing about the Google My Business profile as well is that I'm just going to change the size of my screen for a second. When you're, whoops. Okay. With this, when we go into here, tools, with your Google My Business profile, once you've got it, I'm just going to show you with the back end of mine. Once you've got it, this is what it looks like behind the scenes. I just want to show you how really easy it is to use. So, as I said, completely free. You've claimed it. Make sure you go through every single thing down the side here and you fill in every single detail about your business. Now, if you don't have a site location, so for example, with this one, I've set it up so that I don't actually have a site. So I've put something close by, and you want that because you want the map and the presence on the map to appear. So when people are Googling your business, you appear in the searches. And then when I said to you earlier about posts, now this is where you put the post on here. You add your post in here. So as simple as this, create your first post. You can add an offer, add an update, etc. Put as many photos as you possibly can into this. You want as much information, but try not to make them look false. You don't want the stock imagery. You want your images of your staff, your work, you know, your showrooms, your offices, you yourselves. People love all of that. They want to see the real business. And then I would encourage you to update this weekly. So if you can add photos in weekly, if you can add a post in, like we said earlier, a post in weekly, This info page is probably the most important because it has got all of that, your trading hours. Just make sure your trading hours are the same as anywhere else you've got them. I know that sounds obvious, but people forget to update them on here. Phone numbers, etc., etc. And then all the services, absolutely. And then write a description of what you're talking about, what your business is about. And I promise you won't regret it when you've done this. It's a really easy thing to do and a fabulous tool to use. Now, let me just switch over now to so that's Google My Business Profiles. The next thing that I thought we should probably talk about is social media. Now, you can see here I've saved a few. There's Facebook itself offers a program called Facebook Business Suite. And Facebook Business Suite looks something like this. Now, when you get into it, it's as simple as you've just got a menu down the side here, and you can program and schedule. So before, when we were showing you the Excel spreadsheet, now what you would do is you would come in and you would schedule some posts for the next few weeks, because then if you're always ahead of yourself, things always go wrong in business. You know, in my days of shopping centres, I'd walk in for the day thinking I'm going to do X, and I'd end up doing Y, A, B, everything else, but not what I'd gone into plan for. And if that kept happening to you, then you wouldn't have posts going up regularly. So, and you wouldn't have your website content. So I always used to set aside time to actually plan and schedule. And Facebook owning Instagram has the two in one place. So you can actually schedule to write posts for, so if I was just going to come into, this is the platform that Facebook offers, Business Suite. And you can see here that you can write one article for both formats. Now, if I ticked both boxes and put the text in and add a photo, I could just publish it, or I could just schedule it. But over here, there's another box over this side that actually shows you that you can customize it. So you can write your Facebook content, and then you can put it as one, so you can plan it, and then you can change it for Instagram, which I would always recommend doing, because at the end of the day, Instagram is owned by Facebook. So if you don't adapt them for the subject, what's the point in being on both? So the briefest and quickest way to remember what the difference between the two is that Facebook is all about talking, socializing, chatty comments, what you do with your family, you know, but on a professional level. Instagram is all about the images. So that's the difference. One's about content, one's about the images, basically. So if you can just switch them, and I always liken this to a coffee shop. So imagine a coffee shop and they want to post on Facebook and Instagram. The Facebook post could well be an image of a family sitting down enjoying lunch on a Saturday, and the post would just be, you know, having wish you were here, having a great time with the kids, delicious food, etc., etc. The Instagram post wouldn't be the family, it would be a close-up of the food, or one of the children perhaps with a mouthful of food, something enticing. So it's the same scene but set in a different way. So it's more of a close-up and more of an emotive way of doing it through the photo. So I hope that makes sense as to keeping them different and why you keep them different. You will find your audience possibly on both, and if you want to learn more about how to find out where your audiences are, then join up with one of our workshops on that subject. So Facebook Business Suite is one of the ways to do it. There are other options. The other options that I've used in the past, and there's lots of them, is Hootsuite. Now, Hootsuite, again, it's just a really simple, you can see, you can do a free trial with it. A lot of these things are completely free, so give them a go. I'm not going to send you anywhere where it is going to cost you a fortune. Obviously, as I said earlier, anything that you trial, you might want to pay for the full version. But with all of them, there is usually a free version, or there is a free trial to go through. All of these do the same thing, but they just do it in a different way. And it's like anything, it's just finding the one that works best for you in your business. They will all help you schedule your posts. They will all help you track performance. They'll give you analytics. But these are the top ones that I recommend. The other one that I just wanted to briefly show you is one called Buffer. So we've got Hootsuite, Buffer, and the Facebook Business Manager itself. All do the same thing, just in slightly different ways. I encourage you to just go in, have a look at the videos, have a look around, start their free trials, test one, test another. It doesn't matter. You can switch between them. If you don't like one, try another until you're comfortable with something that you like. So the next thing that I thought we could talk about was your analytics. So discover how, sorry, not analytics, your advertising. So discover how to use your advertising. So I do encourage you to have a look through Google. Google has so many amazing tools. So we talked about Google My Business earlier, but you've also got your first steps to creating your own adverts. Now, I always think, yes, you can pay for an agency, but I think if you don't understand how these things work and haven't had a play with it yourself, then you can't really relate to an agency or someone, a freelancer, offering to do this for you unless you feel a little bit empowered to understand what you're asking the questions about. Google has brilliant teaching, ways of teaching you to do things. And it is very simple to create an advert. And I'm sure we've all seen them. This is what they look like when you go to search for a product. You just see this little AD at the start of it. It is really simple. You just go into ads.google. You do have to have a Google Gmail account for all of this, but I would encourage you to get one anyway. And when you're doing this, just go through and look at the different subjects and always think of who you're talking to and why you're talking to. Ask yourself those two questions. Who am I targeting and what am I trying to tell them? Why am I talking to them? And if you can't answer that in a sensible answer, don't do it. So Google Ads is one way of advertising with your clients. Now, what you can also do, of course, is you can go through and do advertising on Facebook. You can do advertising on Instagram. Again, I would encourage you to work out who your customer is first. Don't just think you have to do all of these things and you'll reach your ideal customer, because they might not be on those particular medias. So if, for example, and I'm going to use the example of maternity clothing. I once spoke to a lady who was advertising on Facebook for maternity swimsuits. Now, I asked her how old her clients who she was targeting, and she said in their early 20s to early to late 20s. Now, to me, if you look at the stats on Facebook, she would be better off advertising on Instagram, not Facebook, because her target audience is there. If you are a business to business business, then you want to be perhaps looking at LinkedIn. And you can do a mixture of these things, but it's worth understanding which platforms for which audience, for which age group. I encourage you to look at writing yourself a buyer persona. So again, if you can look at the tool now, I actually have this on the spreadsheet. And if you sign up for the scheme, which we'll talk about if you're not already on the scheme, I can go through with you how to create your ideal customer buyer persona. We've all got customers. Take a shopping centre as an example. There's customers coming through those doors every single day. They're all customers, but they're not the ideal customer. If you could just choose the ideal customer, who would it be? And it might be more than one, but you've just got to think about it and then have a look on Google writing buyer personas. Or as I said, talk to me after this and we'll arrange for you to get the sheet that's got the information on it of how to create your own. But you do need to understand where those people are being, so you're not just dabbing in the dark and doing these things. So when you're Google advertising, should you be doing Google ads? Which type of Google ads? Because there's multiple types of ads. There are search adverts, which are the ones that you can see here. That's a search advert. You end up with display ads. You've got the shopping ads. There's all sorts of ads that you get. Thank you. Yeah, the buyer persona sheets are really good. I've got an example of one. So let me show you on my planner again. I will buy a persona. Okay, so, oh, wrong shape, bear with me. Share this one. Okay. So can you see my screen now again with the buyer personas? These are just a couple of examples of buyer personas. So here, the reason I always suggest you write a buyer persona is because it really paints a picture. So like this is Nicole, she's 20 years old, 22, she works part-time. What's her life, what's her online behavior like, what's she kind of looking for, where will you find her, and now how do you make her life easier? Because remember, that's what we're all about, is how do we solve her problems for her. So, you know, in a case of a coffee shop, then, you know, it would be creating a great atmosphere, maybe some deals and coupons for her to keep her coming in, cozy seating, etc., etc. And then this is another way you can do it, which is to actually put a written paragraph together, or 3 or 4, of this person. So this is one I had for shopping centres. This is I always put a photo in as well, because I think it really helps to visualise. And you're just talking about the person. So the average age of the shopper that I was targeting in a shopping centre would be in her late 30s. So you can see there, by having a look at that example, I've painted a picture. She's born, Australian born, in her late 30s, lives within a 10-kilometre radius of the shopping centre. She has a family income of X. She tends to shop at the Pines once for weekly groceries, but goes 2 to 3 times a week to top up. She loves to meet with friends and family. She joins in the school holiday entertainment, and so on and so on. You even talk about what she's listening to on the radio, which radio stations, and you can do that with a bit of research. So now you've painted a picture, and now the reason you need this is because every time you are talking to somebody or doing something with marketing, you are talking to Nicole. Other people are going to listen to you anyway, but you want Nicole. That's who you're targeting. So you aim everything at Nicole. So buyer personas are a really neat tool, and there's lots of them out there for you to be able to create one easily for yourself. So with that in mind, I'm now going to just take you through to the next thing I think that we ought to talk about, which is, I'm on screen again. Okay, so the next thing to talk about, I think, is payment types. So there are so many different payment types, and some of them charge you and some of them don't. So you probably may have heard, I'm sure we've all heard of PayPal. PayPal is just one of the ways you can do it. There's also Square, and there's also, I've got examples here. You've got Square, and then you have, I'll show you the other one, Stripe here. So both of these, again, work in a different way. You're going to take payments online, have a look at the options, see what charges are. You can see that they've all got some pretty big names that they've worked with, and they will obviously have plugins that work with your particular type of website and systems that you've got in place. So I'd encourage you to, again, do some research on what's going to suit you best. I personally have used PayPal. I've seen the others in action. I usually tend to stick with PayPal. There is another one, or there's multiple ones. There's one called Payoneer. And if anybody's ever worked with any of the freelancers that you can use around the world in different programs like Upwork and Freelancer and systems like that, they all use their own separate ones, but Payoneer is quite a good one to guarantee funds and the easy transfer of funds. So I think probably, again, with this, it's one of those that you really want to look into yourself. You want to investigate what works with your processes and what has going to work with you long term with your business. So moving on, I just want to go through some fun things now to do with content and design and these are some of my great ones now. For those that haven't heard of Canva, I am just going to open up my Canva account. If you have not heard of Canva, then I suggest that you definitely investigate Canva and make sure that you have it in use for your business. It is a completely free tool. I absolutely love it. Now, I trained in graphic design many years ago, and I still love using Canva. I think it is so simple to create really professional looking designs for all of the different types of collateral that you may produce. So whether you're talking about presentations, social media, videos, marketing, flyers, adverts, whatever, they've got something for it. You can even create t-shirt designs, you can do birthday cards, you can do everything in it. So it's really fun. And again, workshops on this. I'm going to run a 2-hour workshop on actually showing you exactly how to create content through here. Now, quite often with programs like this, again, what they do is they'll encourage you to sign up and they'll give you a month free. I'd suggest using the month free for the paid version to see the difference between paid and non-paid. The main difference, or the only difference, is the photos. So if I was going to create an Instagram post, this would be as easy as it is. I would literally click on the Instagram post size there, and then I can get a load of templates come up down the side here. Now, I do have the paid full version, but the only difference is, if you see when I hover over something, it says free. But when I go to something, oh, there we go, there's one. See, that comes up with a little pro button there. That's the only difference between the two versions. My version looks exactly the same. If you have the free version, it won't let you click on that. It will come up with a warning. But because I've got the paid version, it will allow me to use it. The other thing is with all the photos that you get in here, again, you've got like the pro version and the free version, so you can see there. And I, for years, have used the free version, so don't feel that you have to use the professional version, as I said. But if you're going to be using lots of images and lots of different kinds of templates, and you need some kind of way of producing something that looks very on brand, that I would suggest purchasing the paid version. It's about $18 a month, or you could get it slightly cheaper if you pay for the whole year. You can actually upload logos and brand colors and things in. So if you go in, it's got brand colors in there, so it makes it a lot easier if you want to stay on brand. And then you create yourself some templates. If I go back to the home page, then what happens is that it automatically saves as you go, so you don't have to worry about that. And then it will show you all your recent designs of things that you're doing. These are all examples of things that I've just been playing with here. But the beauty of it is, if you're going to be doing, so if you go to like all your designs in particular, if I use, where's a good example? Here we go. This is one I've set up for social media posts as an example. Once you've created one, then what you do is you just hit the duplicate page, or you can add a page. But if you hit the duplicate page, it will now just duplicate that exact page, and you can just perhaps change a picture. Makes it really quick and easy for you to use. I love it, and I encourage everybody to share it. If you notice, I've actually, while we're on this, I've got headers up the top here to make my life easier. So when all of the things I use for Google are all saved in one place to make my life simple when I'm looking for things. And the same with the presentation that I'm doing today. I try to keep everything in one place, so I'm not trying to remember where I saved it last. So Canva is fabulous. Now the next one, Grammarly. You can download this now. If you can see in my icons up top here, I've got some Chrome shortcuts. And so what this does is it's just what they call an extension is in here. So I've got these little extensions. And what Grammarly does is it basically keeps you on track. When you set it up, it will ask you some questions about why you are using Grammarly. Again, it's a free tool. There is obviously a paid version of everything, but use the free tool. And it will just help with misspellings. It's that step further than, it's similar to what you get in Word, but it's a step further, but it will also help you to actually focus on the writing styles. So there's multiple things that you can add into it. here we go. Let me skip the tour. So the basics, you know, grammatical errors, it'll underline things for you. It will help you to, so here, they always try and send you something. Grammarly Premium can help with that feedback when you're writing, etc. So again, if they're offering a free trial, I'd try it. But see down the side here, it's got suggestions. So when you're writing content, it will tell you whether it thinks your style is okay, whether it's easy to understand, whether you're being effective, how many commas, etc., etc. So Grammarly is another great free tool to use if you're writing content. And remember what we said right at the start, that we want to be ideally in marketing, writing content every single week to keep you ahead of Google and the search engines when they're looking for your information on your product. So that's Grammarly. Now this is a neat one that's free as well. It's called, I don't know if it's Photopea or Photopea, not sure. But anyway, I'll stick with Photopea. Photopea is it's basically a free online tool that acts like a Photoshop. So if you've heard of Photoshop and Illustrator, this is a really neat tool because it's completely free. And you can see here that you've got Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign files. It will help you to open, save PDFs, edit things. It is basically just a free version of it. It's obviously not as in-depth, but I think it's just really simple to use, and it's one that you can just have some fun with playing. It looks very, if you've used Photoshop or Illustrator, it does look very similar to Photoshop and Illustrator. And what it just now enables you to be able to do is have a bit more freedom than Canva. So if you, for example, are trying to take a background, and actually this is another tool I'll come on to at the moment, but if you're trying to take the background of something or just adapt the color, if you wanted this box on this logo to be white instead of green, you know, you could just simply bring it into here, edit it, and then save it back out again. Okay, so the next subject that I want to show you is how to project manage yourself. Actually, just before we move on, I'm just going to show you one more in here, which is, I've got this thing of handy sites, and I just want to go down and hold this drop down open. There's so many different ones here that I keep. So thesauruses for when you're trying to come up with a different word that means the same, you know, so you don't constantly repeat yourself. There is now Hex Colors. I don't know if you know much about online colors and how, have you ever noticed how what you see on your screen is completely different to what's printed, and this does frustrate a lot of people when they're trying to keep their brands the same. So you can do something with Hex to Cmyk, which is Hex is the screen colors that you see, and Cmyk is the printed version. It stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. When you print in a 4-color process, and those 4 colors mixed together that give you the colors that you see. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen on a computer. So what you can try and do with this Hex to Cmyk tool is it will tell you what the closest hex color is, and then you can try and make sure that your website, whatever documents you're producing online, if you're doing digital flyers, etc., are close enough in color to what your printed versions are. So if your graphic designer for your branding has given you your brand colors, you might need to check out what their hex numbers are for online. Then this is a really great tool. Where's it on here? Remove background. So this is something that I use a lot. If you look at the example there, you see the lady's got a white background, and then what you can do is you can take out the background. So if we were to upload an image here, let's just find, okay, let's just try with this. I've opened a koala, and now it's taken out the background. It's as simple as that. And now you just download it. Fabulous tool, because as you know, when you're trying to put something over the top of a color, so if we were now in Canva, and actually the paid for version of Canva does offer this tool too, but if you haven't got the paid for version, this is a free way to do it, how to remove backgrounds, and it's just called Remove BG, Remove Background. So that's a really neat tool. Let's just have a quick look and see if there's any others in here that I can show you that would be worth mentioning. Oh, there's a couple of really good free image sites. One's called Unsplash. So Unsplash, completely free usable images. So instead of having to buy the I can't think of the name of it now. Where's it gone? Shutterstock. That's what I was trying to think of. The Shutterstock images. You can use Unsplash, and there's another one called Pexels, which is there as well. Down the bottom here, Pexels, really close. So Unsplash and Pexels. I encourage you to have a look on there. They won't be as good as using the paid for versions, but they are still pretty good and great for social media. And in fact, in some ways, they're a bit more natural, so they're better to use and completely free to join. So getting back over to here, I don't believe there's anything else for you. Keyword Finder, that's a really cool, neat tool, and it's something that Google offer. There are multiple ways to look at finding keywords, and there's lots of free tools out there. And a keyword is just the words that people use when they're searching for a product. It's the key, and there's multiple of them, so you might have multiple keywords for your particular business. So if we were talking about digital marketing, we would have the words digital marketing near me, online marketing, content writing, anything to do with subjects. They all are classed as keywords, and it doesn't have to be one word, it can be a phrase as well. And in fact, phrases, if you think about it, are probably used more often than one word. You don't normally type in just marketing, or if you're searching for a chiropractor, you don't normally just type in chiropractor. You might type in chiropractor on the Gold Coast, or chiropractors near me, or the best chiropractors. Always think when you're typing keywords or looking for keywords, actually the who, what, why, when, where's, they're the kind of questions you ask. How do I do this? Where can I go? What do I do for this? So add those into your keyword searches. And a quick tip for that as well is whenever you're doing a search, so if I open up another bar, if we were looking for a chiropractor, see what the kind of options that come up. So they would be some of your keyword searches that you would include. You just start typing it and see what the options are that come up for your business. That's an easy and quick way to find your own keywords without too much trouble. Okay, now where are we going next? Okay, project management tools. There are lots of project management tools, and I'm aware of the fact that we're going to go over here, so quickly want to get through these. But there's project management tools. I encourage you to have a look at them. We have Asana, there's Trello, there are Slack, this one here. They all do different things and they all work in different ways, but they're great for keeping you on track and managing your projects. And you can share them with other team members. So if you have lots of different clients and you don't want to constantly lose things in emails, you just create a project board for each of them, and they're really simple to use. Trello is probably one of the easiest, and Asana, they're the two that I've used over the years. Have a look at them and have a play around with them. There is an article here of Asana versus Trello, which is better for your team. They both, like anything, have pros and cons. Asana, as I said, I've used both. I like both. I've got used to using Asana now, and I think Asana slightly pips it for me over Trello, but have a look. There is also Basecamp, and there's things, if you have a team, you can use this Clockify tool, which manages your team's time. So Clockify will literally be something that you can build in to your system. It's free, and it will record time, so you can encourage them to clock on, clock off if you're trying to work out how much time you're spending on projects. It's great actually for measuring your own time that you spend on projects. And then I did want to talk about QR code generators, because if I just go back to the example of what the Google My Business profile, one of the best things for a Google My Business profile is to set up encourage customers to give you reviews. Now, in order to give you reviews, the best way to do it is to have in your offices. You can save it on your phone, you can use it as backdrops if you're going to events, you can take it with you and print it off, is your QR code. There's loads of them. This is the one that I use. Now, if anybody wants to know afterwards how to create a QR code to go to your Google reviews on your Google My Business, get in contact with me and I will show you how to do that, because it just through a couple of steps, and it is literally a case of going to your place finder on Google, this place finder on Google, and literally copying across, finding your location, copying some data across into the QR code writer, and it will create a QR code that will take you straight to that area in your, the Google review page. So then you have it on a nice little frame in your office, and every time someone leaves, you say to them, could you just, you know, take a QR scan that review, please? Because the more reviews you get, the better Google loves you. I just want to check if I have, has anybody got any questions? Because we have run and I've gone over, so I apologise for that. Just want to see if anybody has any questions that they want to ask about some of the things I've shown you today, and just I encourage you to go out there and have a look for them. If you do have any questions, just pop them into the chat for me now. If not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just switch us back to the presentation. Now, if you're not already a member of, sorry, bear with me. If you're not already a member of have signed up to participate in the whole scheme for this, I would really encourage you to do so. For those that jumped on the call halfway through, as I was already started talking, this was my first webinar, so I'm just loading a page here for you. This was my first webinar, so I apologise if it was a little jumpy and I was jumping around. I just, I'm getting to learn my way around switching between screens, and it didn't help my sound wasn't working. This here, the 7 hours, if you're not doing it, I really encourage you, for $44, you'll get access to people like myself. As I said, I've spent over 30 years in marketing, a very broad range of experiences. I can cover off on all kinds of marketing and all areas of it, from websites, social media. But if I can't, then we pass you on to someone else, and there's lots of my colleagues across Western Australia and Queensland. So the next and final screen is, if you want to register, just go to the Business Station address, or you can scan the QR code that's on the screen now, and that will take you through. I hope you've enjoyed today. I just want to make sure that everybody's happy. It was a pleasure to chat with you all. If you want to keep going, sign up for thank you, Mark, that's really nice. As I said, it was my first one, so it's a bit of a strange one for me, because I'm trying to navigate around the screens, and I've only got one screen now. There's so much to do, so many different places to read. Yes, Eve, there are loads, and just go through them and have a look and have a play. Even if you do one a week, and just pick your top favourites out of them. And as I said, I encourage you to sign up and join the scheme, and we'll individually work with you. We tailor it to your particular business needs. So if you'd like to find out some more information for the actual 7 hours of then you get 3 hours of one-to-one with consultants like myself, and then you also get 4 hours of webinars, minimum of 4 hours. There's plenty of them. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and say goodbye to you all, and wish you all a good week. Thanks all for joining.